morning, Terry. Welcome to Monday Madness
All right. Good morning to you too.
in the horse racing. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, we pretty busy. We got to see our grandkids, and we went to some friends of mine's wedding, so that was nice. So
Mm, getting late, married a little late, eh?
yeah, he's 73, and it's his fourth marriage. So I don't know.
So can't say the third time's the charm. Maybe the fourth time is the answer. Maybe we'll go with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he got a really good woman too, so I think it's going to be good for him.
Well, hopefully we got some really good picks to go today at Parx Racing.
Yeah,
Looking at the track today, it does look like the weather could start out nice. But then as the day wears on, they are expecting afternoon showers and thunderstorms, gusty winds, small hail is possible. So could be making for an interesting afternoon. We'll see if they make it through the entire card today before they cancel out. We'll make it through the entire card and see what happens, right?
yeah, that's true.
All right, so let's get started. The first race today at Parx is a 7 furlong maiden $35,000 race with a purse for $35,000. And so far at 7 furlongs, Terry, they've run 158 races, a great majority of them, 117 won by horses that were in the first three at the first call, 54 of which went wire to wire. There is an inside three bias, 4 through 7, a small penalty. 8 and out is a similar winning rate as 1 through 3. But there's only 6 horses in this field, Terry, so that's really not an issue for us here today. Let's quickly take a look at our pace worksheet for Parx. Maybe, I don't know if I can make this a little bigger or not. Let's see if I can. Well, that's too big. No, well, let's go back down. Yeah, there's just not enough for me to do it that way. All right, so here we see the arrows on the horses indicating which way they're moving in class. You see a lot of horses that are class droppers, mostly out of maiden special weight, $60,000 down to today's level. The 6 horses squared off should get a pace that's comfortable. Does have some of the best late pace numbers in here. The 3 has never been close, Terry, hence the NC, but does have a plus late pace advantage, meaning if it's close, maybe it can make something happen today. All but the 3 have similar early pace numbers. So I think this is, quite frankly, one of those races to start the card where a lot can happen. Anything can happen, so to speak.
That's right. So let me start out with who I like in that first race. And we'll start with the number 4 horse. Ira the Icon. He has a high percentage winning trainer, switches to high percentage winning jockey, who in the last 7 days has won 3 out of 7 starts and has a good workout on September 3rd. Then I like number 1, Fletcher. He drops in class today, and the rail post is winning at an 18% clip. Number 2, my third pick, Harley's Charlie. He drops in class today and had a slow start in his debut race, so it really affected his race. Number 6 is my fourth pick, Alta Fox. He drops in class today as well, has the highest last speed rating, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters.
Where you stop is where I start, Terry. With number 6, Alta Fox did run the top last race speed figure, is dropping in class, showed the most early pace in the debut for any of these horses in here, and has the top early pace, late pace combination. Speed wins, should be the one on the lead. Number 2, Harley's Charlie, dropping in class as well. Horrible race in its debut, but did have the second best early pace, late combination in the field. Number 4, Ira the Icon, ran a Z pattern in its last race, meaning the 2 furlong pace numbers were higher than the 4 furlong pace numbers. And then you saw the late pace numbers bounce back up again. Matter of fact, the horse was much, much better in the later portion of its last start. And Robert Reed and jockey Frankie Pennington winning at 33% together and collecting a 97-cent positive ROI. So a pretty good duo there. And then finally, number 1, Fletcher is riding the 18% winning rail, does get a weight break, and is dropping in class. So you got a class break and a weight break. 2 combinations that hopefully add up to 1 winner for Terry anyway. Race number 2, 5.5 furlongs. This one's maiden claiming $10,000 for a purse of $19,000. So far at 5.5 furlongs, they've run 99 races, so one short of a hundo, 76 of which were won by speed, 48, so almost 50% going wire to wire. There is an outside to inside bias, meaning the farther you are from the rail, the better off you are. Race number 2, we catch our first scratch today on a card so far with not a whole lot of scratches. A lot of these horses should get trips that they're comfortable with. You see the E-horse, a horse that wants to be on the lead. The 3-horse, though, is our first left arrow horse of the day, likely to be your pace setter from the pressure position. And you see that the 5, the 6, and the 4 all have some pretty similar late pace figures. These maiden claiming races at this level, Terry, are fairly wide open, I'd say. So it is your box it up. So you must think it's wide open as well.
I do. I actually think it's very wide open. But I like number 5, Manitou Bobby. He ran second versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 31% of the time when he brings back a beaten favorite to race again. And his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. And then I like Turtleneck Ted, number 4. He ran fourth in his last race. And after he came into the stretch really wide, has a trainer who wins 22% of the races and maiden claiming races. And number 3, Ash of Enemy. He finished third versus similar in his last race.
I think that's number 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It is number 2 at Parx Racing and has a good jockey in the irons. And then number 3, Issuing Justice. He has a high percentage. He has the highest last speed rating, drops in class today, should improve while returning to the dirt. The trainer wins 34% of the time when he takes a horse from turf to dirt.
Thanks for the thumbs up, Jimmy Little. We appreciate that. If, like Jimmy Little, you like what you see, give us a thumbs up on Facebook and on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button while you're at YouTube. Just a few short of 2,000, so we greatly appreciate everybody's support. Help us get up to 2,000. We would one milestone, then we'll ask you to help us get to 3, then to 10. It's never ending, right? All right, so for me in race number 2, I like the 5-horse as well as my top choice, Terry. Manuka Bobby was much better with the 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers in the last race. I'm expecting continued improvement in the second start off the bench. Has some of the best early pace and some of the best late pace in this field. Number 3, Issuing Justice, is a left arrow horse. My man Tom from Foreign Friday says anytime he hears me talk about a left arrow horse, if it's not one he's considered, he doesn't even review it now. He's just sticking him in his ticket. So that's good to hear. Did run the top last race speed figure, dropping in class. Horse that's flipping from turf to dirt, which is a 34% winning angle for trainer Danny Velasquez. And then finally, number 4, Turtleneck Ted. Slightly better fractions than last out. Should be coming on at the end with a lot of rush. Better, I guess, Turtleneck Ted than Pencil Neck Pete, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, Ash of My Enemy. This is my last choice of this race. It is a horse that was better across the board. So the early part, the middle part, and the later part of the race was better than the previous start. Most of that improvement came in the second half of the race. So Ash of My Enemy, one that seems to be on the upswing. Race 3. This one's my box it up, Terry. We'll get to that in a minute. But race 3 is 1 mile, 70 yards on the main track, claiming $16,000. And so far, they've run a lot of them, 221, 161 of which were won by horses that are labeled early speed. The speed limit in some places, 55 of which went wire to wire. We do find a slight inside 3 bias, but for the most part, the post positions play fair. Our pace set up here again, not a whole lot of scratches today, Terry. So the 3-horse got knocked out of this race before it started. So one we don't have to consider, great, thankfully. We do see that the 2-horse, again, another left arrow horse. This one's never been close, but the early pace figure says, maybe today's a day it could surprise. The 1-horse is another one that should be up on the pace. The 7 has the most late pace in the field. And here you see in fact, all of these horses so far have been horses that like to be towards the back. So any horse that gets to the front today, no matter what the odds are, could have a chance, I think, to upset. That's why I made it my box it up. But before we get to our box it up, Terry, tell me why you like the horses you like.
All right. Well, I like number 7, True Darkatan. He finished in the money in the last 6 races, and I like horses that are very consistent like that. And he won the last race at Parx Racing, so he can handle this track. And then at number 5 is my second pick, Henry the third. He won his last race at Monmouth Park and has a decent workout. And and then number 1, my brother Neil's my third pick. He has the highest speed figure at today's distance. His best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters, and he has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. And then number 6, Austin Wiley. He finished third versus similar in his last race and has the highest last race speed rating.
All right. So as I mentioned, this is Box It Up for Rich. So this is back to back Box It Ups. I had to slow that down so I didn't mess it up. Too many B's in the alliteration to get started there. I'm going to begin with, and that's MT. It's supposed to be MY. Typo there. My apologies, folks. But my brother Neil has a decent workout between races and has a plus advantage when you combine the early and late pace numbers together. Number 2, True Dakotan. I have a good friend who lives in the Dakotas, but I'm not a fan of maiden claiming risers. I'm a fan of my friend, good guy, but did run much better fractions in its last race. But it was first at Parx. So I do like the fact that because it was his first race at Parx, that maybe he's a horse for the course, and I can kind of discount the first race coming up after the maiden win. Resume says some major improvement is on the table in the second start after a layoff. Number 6, Austin Wiley ran the top last race speed figure. Big pop in its late pace last out. Horse is okay at the distance 9 times. 1 win, 1 second, 3/3. It's where it's made all of its own money, or at least most of it, because at any other distance, the horse has run 15 times, 0 wins, 0 seconds, and only a couple of thirds. Finally, Henry the Third, another maiden claiming riser, coming off better fractions and pace numbers for the first half mile of its last start. So now we slide on to race number 4 at Parx. This one's 6 furlongs, claiming $7,500 for a purse, Terry, of $20,000 at Parx. 6 furlongs. They've run 214 races. Got to be fast because 148 of them were won by horses that were in the first 3 at the first call, 75 of which took them from gate to wire. You do have a rail penalty. We're all aware, if you watch the Park show, that the 6 furlongs is quirky for that one horse. For whatever reason, doesn't win at the rate it should. Every other post position is kind of fair in here, Terry. This is your long shot. But before we get to the long shot, let's take a look at the pace setup for race number 4. We see here a ton of horses that might want to get to the front. So it could be a race that sets up nicely, Terry, for a horse that prefers to be in the back. Some of those closers include the 5 horse, but the 2 horse has the most late punch with the plus number there, and then the 5. The 9 horse, I think, should be perfectly situated because it is the lone pressure closer horse in the field. So if these guys go too slow, he can move up. If they go too fast, be very patient in his effort, Terry. And I do believe that you're going to actually have the 9 horse as your long shot.
I do, and I liked it because of all the early speed in here, and it can run either way. So the number 9, Where's the Passion? He finished in the money in his last 4 races, and he won one of those starts. He has a trainer who wins 21% of the races that he has a horse in that are claiming races. And then number 10, Out Working for a Kiss is my second choice. He won his last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer, and his best early speed rating style helps his chances. Then I like number 4 is my third pick, Captain Chaz. He won his last race at Parx Racing, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his dirt speed, of course, is fastest among today's starters. Then number 2, which is my 4th pick, Instant Chaos. And let's see if he's going to cause some chaos here. But he finished 3rd in his last race at Parx Racing and has the highest last race speed.
Well, I like the 4 horse, Captain Chaz. Won his last with better numbers, internals from the beginning to the middle to the end of its start. And on Parx dirt, 9 times out, 4 wins and a second. So clearly one that doesn't mind running on that surface. Number 2, Instant Chaos. Colby has a plus late advantage in the race where 6 of the 10 horses have only won as they've gotten to the front. Number 9, Where's the Passion, is the lone PC horse, as I showed in the pace workshop. Should be a horse that gets a pace that he likes, a good trip. Only problem is that Parx has run 10 times, 2 seconds, 4 thirds, hasn't found the winner's circle yet. However, at the distance, in the money 80% of the time in 5 races with a win, a second, and a couple of thirds. Last race was better than it looks on paper, with better fractions at 7 furlongs than what he ran in 6 furlongs the previous race. And then finally, he's a stone cold fox. Going to take a flyer here on the Naira dropper, but could prove to be the speed of the speed. The lone trip at Parx did not go over very well with that 3 horse, but trainer Jordan Bullock hits 5 out of 14 times. The first time out with a new horse, which today is the first start for He's a Stone Cold Fox for Mr. Bullock. Race number 5, as we continue to move along the card. I think we got, one more before the early pick 4 is done, right, Terry?
That's correct, yes.
So race number 5 is Terry's best bet. It is 1 mile and 70 yards on the main track. And as we've mentioned, like most of the distances on dirt at Parx, you got to be fast out of the gate. Most of these races were won by speed. 55 of the 221 won by wire to wire. We do see a slight inside bias, but the post positions really don't determine the outcomes of these spots. Race number 5, again, one of the scratches in here is the 1 horse. It's a short field. All but the 3, as you can see here, have some similar early pace figures, none of which really needs to get on the lead. The 4 horse, which typically is a pressure closer horse, probably going to move forward. The 2, the 4, and the 6 are probably going to be 1, 2, 3 in some order when the gates open, Terry. Tell us about why you think in that spot, the 6 horse is the best bet of them all.
Well, the 6 horse, Divine Miracle, and I think he's going to be a Divine Miracle. You know, he finished in the money in the last 8 of 9 starts this year, and that's really fantastic. He's won 6 of those starts, so he loves to win, has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer, and in the last 14 days, that combo has won 2 out of 4 starts. And, you know, you need to throw out his last race as he came so wide into the stretch, which really affected his finish. Number 2 is my second pick, Ruby Blue. He finished in the money in the last 10 races, winning 5 of those starts. So he's 50% winner. That's pretty impressive too. Has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And then number 4, Excursion. You know, he won his last 2 races that he ran at Parx Racing. He likes this track, and he does like the distance. And then number 5, My Friend's Beer. He finished second versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing and likes this distance.
So I'm going to go with Ruby Blue as my top choice to upset, Terry. Your second pick to upset your best bet of the day. It does have the top early pace score and also has the top late pace score. Can't pass what you can't catch. If it's in front of you early and can still run faster than you at the end, how do you pass it? It is dropping from a non-graded stakes race, as is the Divine Miracle. They are both in that race, I think, last time out. Ruby Blue was in the money. Divine Miracle was not. It is the second off the claim for Ruby Blue, the 2 horse for Miguel Rodriguez, which is a 35% winning angle for Mr. Rodriguez. Number 6, Terry's best bet, Divine Miracle, ran in that same non-graded stakes race as the 2. Only time it ran at Parx, he ran out of the money in the last 10. But that was the only time at Parx when he was out of the money. Parx overall, 10 races, 7 wins, a second and a third. So clearly one that's a horse for the course. Number 4, Excursion. At the distance, 9 times, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a trio of thirds. Taking a small step down in the class conditions. Did run better fractions in the early part of its race last time out. And then finally, My Friend's Beer. At the distance, 9 times, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Did also run some better fractions in that last race. That was Terry's best bet. We also have a best bet from our good friend, Caroline's. What's this? Mr. Rich means that Caroline's distance is less than Hamu's distance. The distance is also edited. I'm not sure what that means, but all right. So let's go ahead to our good friend. Picks with the professor. He kind of changed up a little bit today too, Terry, the picks with the professor. He
Oh,
had been doing a best bet. Now he's doing a best parlay.
oh, that's nice.
So the parlay of the day today, it looks like it's going to be your Giants plus 3.5 and then under 7.5. 100 and minus 110 on DraftKings at 9:30 a.m. So he's going to buy more for the Giants at a total. Watch full discussion on this game by going on over to his Major League videos. There's a link to this parlay of the day, as well as a link to all of the professor's videos. Make sure you go check that out. Bookmark the play of the day. Go watch the videos. And while you're in there, be loud, be rowdy, be obnoxious. Let them know that Horse Racing Today sent you. Right, Terry?
That's right. Absolutely.
All right. So the next race on our card today is race number, what is it, 6, Terry?
6, yes.
Race, which also is the end of the 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the end of our early pick 4. But also want to mention that our friend Mohammed does like a horse here in race number 6. He says the 10 horse is the best of the group, in his opinion, in race number 6. Race 6 being a 7 furlong maiden claiming $10,000 race, Terry. And at 7 furlongs so far, they've run 158 races, 117 of which were won by speed. We found that 54 took them from gate to wire. There is an inside 3 bias and an 8 and out bias. 4 through 7 have a little bit of a penalty. If we take a quick look at our pace workshop here, Terry, we'll find that we do have a horse in here, the 8 horse. Well, again, this is a maiden race. So you see the down arrows. These are the ones dropping in class. So the 8 and the 5 are dropping. The 3 stepping up, which I think is kind of a tough road sometimes in these cheap maiden races. I think he ran for 5 last time, as did the 2. You find that the 5 horse is a pressure horse, but also a left arrow horse, meaning he has the most early pace coming off the drop in class, so might accentuate that early pace. It's actually a plus, meaning he's 10 points better than the next closest horse, Terry, which could put him as much as 2 lengths ahead of everybody else after the opening quarter mile. Muhammad says he likes the 10 here, Terry. You don't have the 10. 5 is my long shot, but it's also your second pick. You like the 6.
I do. Escondalo. She ran second versus similar to her last race at Parx Racing. She has a really good trainer, and the distance won't be a problem for her. Number 5, Days Remembered, is my second pick. She drops in class today. She has a trainer who wins 23% of the races in the second race that he runs a horse after claiming that horse. And then number 1 is my third pick, Creative Joy. She finished third versus similar to her last race at Parx Racing. The rail post is winning at an 18% clip. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And her jockey in the last 7 days has been in the money 13 out of 18 starts and won 5 of those, 4 seconds, 4 thirds. And then number 8, Imagining. She drops in class today, and her trainer wins 26% of the time when he brings a beaten favorite back to race again.
For me, in race number 6, I got my long shot for the day there, Mr. Terry.
Mm-hmm.
That is Days Remembered. It is a left arrow horse, as I mentioned, with the double plus early pace advantage. 1 of 2 class droppers, as we noted as well in the pace worksheet. Second off the claim for trainer Danny Velasquez, which is a 24% winner for the young man. Number 8, Imagism, is the other class dropper in here. Does have some early pace as well. Additionally, getting a weight break, which could help that early speed last a little bit longer. Might be the difference between winning and not winning. Muhammad's horse, number 10, Charlie's Wild Angel, was much better across the board in his first start off the claim for Patricia Faro. She hits at 22% the next time around the track off the claim. Then finally, Escondalo, in the money 50% of the time at Parx, 10 times out. No wins, a couple of seconds, a trio of thirds. Was a little bit better early in the last start for the horse. Looks like she's running, just to me, to clean up the gimmicks, although Terry has it as his top pick. Along with the, so how do you count the number 6 on Mr. Rich's first horse when he was close to a 10? Distance of 1,200. I mean, the number 10 hit the number 6. Not quite sure I understand what you mean, but how do you count the 6 on Mr. Rich's first horse? That's actually Terry's first horse and my last horse in race number 6. So Terry's picks are on the left, mine are on the right. And we have differing opinions. That's what makes the greatness of the show, I hope, anyway. And you probably all have different opinions too. So like Mohammed, if you have an opinion, please share them with us. And the idea here is to hopefully, produce some information that either confirms what you're thinking or kind of acts contradictory to what you're thinking to make you possibly go back and look. And then for considerations, obviously we're not right about everything. If we did, we both own our own island somewhere in the Bahamas. Ain't that right, Terry?
That's correct. Absolutely.
So the first pick 4 starts in race number 3. That is our hot dog pick 4s. Terry and I only get to spend $20, much to Terry's disliking, because he can't go all, and then a single. But we're both spending $18. Terry's going to go 3-3-2-2. He thinks the last 2 races are the cleanest on the card. I feel like the 2 middle in the pick 4 are the ones where you're likely to get your winners. We'll find out how it all plays out, but it looks like we can go 1-7 on the first leg, only the 4 in race number 2, the 2 and the 6 in race number 5, and then the 5 is the last leg. So there's only one way for Terry and I to both be winners. That's the interesting thing about pick 4s, and why Terry and I are in here sharing differing opinions on the horses, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Race 7, race 6 also starts the late pick 5, the Filly 5. And Terry and I will have something on the Filly 5 in just a moment. Before we move on, though, Terry, tonight, our good friend Jamie Martinez will once again be the co-host with Sean. She's actually the lead host with Sean. And this is going to be a fantastic week of guests over at the Horse Center show starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, Sarah Schaefer will be their guest. Tomorrow night, Susan Packard, who will be running the inaugural Women in Horse Racing event. That's going to be a fantastic show. You're going to want to check that out. And then on Wednesday, Ronnie Allen Jr. will be the guest. So all those shows start at 8 o'clock. I think it's going to be a fantastic week. And I think the Tuesday show has a chance to be really special. They're all special. Make sure you tune in if you're a lady who wants to know about horse racing, getting into horse racing, or there is a female in your family that wants to know about the sport, is interested in. That Tuesday show is a can't miss if that's a situation in your home or in somebody's home that you find to be a good friend. Yeah. All right. Race number 7. It is the start of the late pick 4, Terry. It's 6.5 furlongs, claiming $15,000 for a purse of $28,000. So I think the first time today we're going to see 6.5 furlongs. So far, they've done it 142 times, 87 of which were won by horses that were in the first 3 at the first call. 45 went wire to wire. There is a strong rail bias at this position, Terry. All the rest kind of play fair. So if your first horse, the one horse has got some inside speed, you might want to consider that. There is a scratch here, the 9 horse, which I think materially impacted this race because the 9 had a plus late pace advantage. So, yeah, maybe that being out of the race, especially in a race where a lot of these horses have very similar early pace figures. Although on paper, it looks like it's a race that should favor speed because most of the horses are in the back half. Early pace figures suggest a lot of them will be bunched up in the front. 5 horse being a left arrow horse. 7 horse should be the one that gets the lead. The 6 and the 5 should compete. I think this is one of those races that's pretty wide open. Again, Terry, I have it listed as a highly competitive start. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Number 5, Shanghai Superfly. He ran 4th versus Tougher in his last race, but he was only beaten by 2 lengths, so it wasn't that far. It drops in class today and has a trainer-jockey combination who in the last 14 days have won 50% of their starts. Number 1 is my second pick, Screensaver. He finished second in his last race, switches to a high percentage winning trainer, has a jockey in the last 14 days, have been in the money 13 out of 20 starts, won 5 of those, 5 seconds, 3/3. Number 2, Lavery. He should improve while returning to the dirt and a sprint, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey who in the last 7 days has been in the money 3 out of 8 starts with 2 wins. Then my fourth pick is number 6, Appealing Future. He drops in class today. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters. And the trainer in the last 14 days has had 6 in the money, 3 wins in 3 seconds.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we got the same 4 horses, just slightly different order. We're the same in the beginning, same in the end, just mixed them up a little bit in the middle. I do feel like this is a race that any one of those 4 horses can win. That's why I say it's kind of open, even though it's a short field. I like Shanghai Superfly as well. It is a left arrow horse in here. It is dropping in class after running some better fractions at 6.5 furlongs versus 6 furlongs in the previous start. Was the favorite in that race with the faster fractions. Did get beaten, but trainer Jamie Ness does rebound 30% of the time next time around the track with some chalk that disappointed. The 2-horse Lavery is a track dropper from Monmouth Park as well as Gulfstream Park, but has had some share of its Parx runs 9 times out, 2 wins, 4 thirds. Flip back to dirt, I think, is a positive for Lavery. In the money, 10 of 16 on that surface. And it doesn't matter if it starts to rain, if it's wet or fast. Either way, Lavery performs well on a dirt course. Number 1, Screensaver does benefit from that inside rail bias. Jamie Ness and Ruben Silvera, pretty strong combination at Parx. I mean, anybody who follows that track knows that. Although last week they did cool down a touch. It is the first off the claim for Mr. Ness, which is a 34% angle for the high win rate trainer. And then finally, number 6, Appealing Future does drop in class, did run a little bit better fractions early in its last race, and it's going to get a weight break today. So better fractions, less weight to carry. Maybe the horse can take that combination all the way around the track for a W. Race number 8 is 6 furlongs. It's another one of these maiden races for a purse of $35,000. As we've mentioned a lot of times, Terry, at 6 furlongs, got to be fast. Probably don't want to be on the rail, which is it's an underperforming post position. The rest of them are fairly fair. As we look at our pace workshop, again, we do get the lines to designate if the horses are moving up or down in class, which I think when you're looking at maiden claiming races is one of the key data points. The 8 horse is a class dropper, also has a green box around it, meaning it should be the early pace setter. As a matter of fact, it does have a plus at both 2 furlongs and 4 furlongs. So it should be on the lead after 4 furlongs, after half a mile. Just needs to hang on at the end. Got a couple of first-time starters in here. I think this is one of those races maiden claiming 10, Terry. Again, like the most of this card today. I'd put it as a C card in terms of most of the horses in here.
Yeah.
I think a lot can happen in this spot too.
That's true. Well, I like the number 1, Pachelbel. She drops in class today. She has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. In the last 7 days, this jockey's won 3 out of 7 starts. And then number 2, back to the future. She was well bet in her debut, but she finished 3rd versus Tougher in her only start and has the highest last speed rating. Drops in class today. Her best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Number 3, Winning Moon. She was well bet in her last race, finishing 3rd versus similar in her only start and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And then number 8, Riverview. She drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer and a jockey. In the last 7 days have been, as I said, been in the money, 13 out of 18 starts, 5 wins. So it's pretty nice.
I like number 2, Back to the Future. Decently bet in its debut, as I mentioned in the pace workshop, one of 2 horses that are dropping in class here. Did run the top last race speed figure, Terry. You know how I like that drop in class with the best late pace speed figure combination as a handicapping angle. And to boot, the horse had some decent work out between the races. So the horse should remain fit, firm, and ready to go. The 8 horse Riverview has a plus early pace edge at 2 and 4 furlongs. Trainer jockey combination of Andy Hernandez and Michael Moore have won 5 of 14 together with a positive ROI. Number 1, Pachelbel. I think the rail sucks, as I've mentioned many times before. Does have some early pace, likely to be the co-pilot. Gets upgraded to jockey Frankie Pennington today, which I think will be helpful, although that rail could be difficult to overcome. And then finally, Creative Copy is a first-time starter in here. It really doesn't have a whole lot to beat. It was a tough call over to 3, but I'll take 15-1 morning line odds over 5-1 morning line odds when it is a flip of the coin between the two horses, in my opinion. Race 9, as we close out and get close to closing out this card, is a mile and 70 yards optional, claiming $16,000. Again, like most of the dirt tracks here, dirt races, speed wins. 55 went wire to wire in 221 races. There is a slight inside 3 bias, but not so much so that it absolutely impacts the outcome of the race. It is pretty fair otherwise. Here we see a race that is dominated by horses that want to come from off the back, as a majority of the field is back in here. But we do see that the ones that can win from the front, the 2, the 4, and the 5, all have very similar early pace figures. That means they're likely to go out and press each other, or could go out and press each other, which would favor, in my view, the speed of the speed. If speed goes way too fast, 8 horse being a lone pressure horse could be well situated, and the 6 horse with a plus late pace, if they go too fast, would be the one that's most likely to gobble them up at the end. Terry, you like the 2 and the 6 as well. I think wow, look at this race. We both agree exactly.
That's true. Yeah, I like number 2, a G and C. She tried turf and she didn't like it. She didn't take to it at all, but she should improve while returning to the dirt. The shorter distance will also help her, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. Now, if something's going to catch her, it's going to be the number 6, Closet Shopper. She drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey who in the last 14 days have been in the money. 13 out of 20 starts, 5 wins, 5 seconds, and 3/3. And then number 4, Burano. She finished in the money in 5 of her 6 career races, winning one of the starts, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey who in the last 7 days have finished in the money 4 out of 7 starts, has won 3 of those. And then number 9, Titanic Rose. She finished in the money in 7 out of 10 races at Parx, so she likes the track and has a high percentage and has the highest last base reading, actually tied with another horse.
I like A, G, and C. I think, as I mentioned, based upon the pace worksheet, 3 horses are going to go out for the lead. I think this one could be the speed of the speed. Does have a history, however, of getting way out and then giving up leads, but at his best, does smoke this field. And I feel like Paco Lopez riding will give the horse the best shot. And Paco will do whatever it takes to get the horse to the winner's circle.
Yep.
Number 6, Closet Shopper, might be better in its third start off the bench. Jamie Ness goes a 31% winner when he goes sprint, route. However, this horse has run at this distance 4 times and has goose eggs across the board. Hasn't finished in the first 3 yet, but does have a plus late pace advantage. I think will be coming in at the end, contending at least to get into the exactas or trifectas. Burano, the 4 horse, is taking a huge step down in class, and I like to see that it's not for sale. The horse has run well at Parx 5 times out with a win, a couple of seconds, and a third. So 4 out of 5 in the trifecta. And I don't have to worry about the distance here because the horse has run twice and finished second in one of those. Number 9, Titanic Rose, does drop in class with that combination again with the top last race speed figure. In fact, the horse has improved its speed figure 3 races in a row. So looking to make it a quartet of improvements. Has not run at the distance, but does have the second best late pace numbers in the field. And if you kind of examine the races for Titanic Rose, you get the feeling from the past performances that the longer, the better for that horse. So I think the actual added distance is going to be a benefit for the 9. Last race of the day, race number 10, is a claiming $7,500 race for 6 furlongs, Terry. As we mentioned, you got to be fast, kind of want to stay off the rail. A lot of the horses go wire to wire. So speed kills. Again, our pace workshop. This race is it is absolutely 100% symmetrical, which you have 3 horses that want to be on the lead, 1 that can sit on the lead or be patient, 4 that want to be a kind of pressure, 1 pressure closer, and 4 closers. So this absolute symmetrical race. The 3 horse does have the top early pace numbers, so likely to be the one that's setting the pace after the first quarter mile. Does have a plus advantage when you combine the early pace and late pace numbers. So I think the 3 horse, if it can get out to the lead and hold on, might have an opportunity to take this field wire to wire. You like the 3-horse to take it to wire, Terry. I think I like it as my best bet of the day.
Yeah, Kissing Cousins, number 3. She ran second in her last race at Parx Racing. She has the highest last race speed rating and a high percentage winning trainer. This trainer wins 27% of the time when bringing a beaten favorite back to the races again. And then number 12, Classy Sadie. She ran fourth in her last race at Monmouth Park after being bumped at the start, and she steadied at that start. Has the highest speed figure at today's distance. And then her best start speed is the fastest among today's starters. And then I like number 6, Hit a Homer Honey. She finished fourth in her last race after being bothered at the start, and she has a jockey in the last 7 days, has won 2 out of 8 starts. And then number 7, Nana's Bupa. She ran second in her last race, switches to high percentage winning trainer, and her early speed running style will help her chances.
Kissing Cousins, my top choice too. Best bet of the day in the deep field. So, I mean, that's a great place to put a best bet. Should be part of the early chase, as I mentioned. It has some of the best late pace numbers in the group. Put the two together, and the horse has a plus advantage over everybody else. So the horse should be able to, the pace of this race should favor the 3-horse from start to finish. Classy Sadie has the most late pace in the field, and Gambler's Fallacy, due at Parx, ran at the Philadelphia track 5 times, no wins, but did finish second 4 times with a third. So 5 out of 5 in the money at Parx, just looking for that first W. Number 6, Hit a Homer Honey, as we mentioned, and the pace worksheet is the lone pressure closer horse. Deceptively better times in its last race distance, 6 times. 3 of them were winning efforts, 1 third place finish. Finally, number 2, Queen Cordelia, is a pressure horse that should, much like the 6-horse, get a good trip. Was a Jamie and S favorite last time out and got beat. The trainer rebounds at 30% the next time around the track with a beaten favorite. Horse is catching a weight break today, and I do expect some improvement from Queen Cordelia in race number 2 off of the bench. The final race of the day also squares up the late pick 5, or the only pick 5, the Philly 5, as well as our late pick 4 as well. So let's take a look at the pick 5s, Terry. I went 3 by 3 by 3 by 2 at the end. I do feel like the 3 and the 12 horse in that last leg do stand out from the rest of them. You did a little bit different, 2 by 4 by 2 by 3 by 4. So it looks to me like in race number 7 and 10, you have the least amount of confidence.
Yes.
All right. And then the final thing of the day is our prime rib pick 4s, where we did things a little bit differently. Terry putting $96 of his 100 to work. I'm putting 90 of my 100 to work. Terry going 4 by 3 by 3 by 5. I'm a little less confident in that race number 8. So I went 3 in the first leg, 5 in the second leg, 4 and 3. Was really thinking about just putting the 3 and 12 on that back end to make it a little bit less expensive, but put the 6 in there just in case. All right. Here are our full bets again today for races 1 through 10. Terry's best bet being in race number 5. My best bet to close the show. Terry's long shot is in race number 4, excuse me.
4.
Mine is in race number 6. Terry's box it up today. Early on, the box it ups come quick and fast, so make sure you make a note of them. Terry's is in race 2. Mine is in race 3. Again, that's a $1 exacta box, 50-cent trifecta box, 10-cent superfecta box. Terry and I pick a race where we think it's kind of wide open, where if our 4 horses hit, we might get a good payout. The late pick 5, or the Philly 5, again, Terry putting 96 of 100 to work. I'm putting 81 to work. And then our prime rib pick 4 tickets. That's the way Terry and I see the card playing out today at Parx. Tomorrow we'll be back to do Horseshoe Indianapolis. A little bit of change up. Kentucky Downs is going to close out on Wednesday. So Tom and I will be back to do Foreign Fridays in the U.S. on Wednesday to close out the Kentucky Downs card. And then finally today, if you're going to be putting any of your thought towards Thistle Downs over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet, there is a link in the description. Please use that on Facebook, Twitter, or any of them that you find at horseracingtoday.net. And you will head on over there and you'll see Thistle Down. Race 1, Brilliant Benny is the early choice in race number 1. All right, Terry, I think that wraps it up for today. Did I forget anything?
Well, just, if you liked what you saw today, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook and Twitter. And follow us on Twitter at Horse Race, the number 2 day. And of course, like us on Instagram too.
Yes, indeed. You see right there on the scroll bar below our handles for Horse Race, the number 2 day. Well, that wraps up the picks for today, Terry. Make sure you check out Sean and Jamie tonight. They always put on a fantastic show at Horse Center. Make sure you do that. Not quite sure what we're going to do Thursday night in terms of, we have a couple of choices for our Players Edge podcast. We'll keep you up to speed with that. Our Swiss Army Sean will let you know on all the social media sites. Any final thoughts today, Terry, before we wrap it up?
Just, take it easy. I'm glad that the temperatures went down in this area. I hope the rains slow down where you're at. I know you needed a boat yesterday. That sounds like it was about 4 inches of rain in 2 hours or something like that. But, just be safe and see your loved ones as much as you can and just have a good day.
Yeah, I was actually in the basement most of the day yesterday working. So Sundays are a busy day for me. So I didn't really even see much of the rain. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, you only have so many seconds in a day. Make sure you make every one of them count. You can't relive yesterday. You can't do anything about tomorrow. Do what you can about today. And no matter what it is that you do today, whether it's at Parx, Thistledowns, or wherever it is that you're doing, please make sure that ends up in the one and only place we ever want anything to end up for anybody. And that is in the
winner's circle.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us today. Again, if you haven't done so already, help us get to 2,000 on YouTube. Have a fantastic Monday, and we will see you tomorrow.